Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Batman, issue number 68. If you're having a hard time reading the comic books, the Batman comic book specifically, this incredibly sexy freaking variant cover should totally help with that. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. We're going to get into why this comic book is still kind of important to read after we get into who actually made the comic book. Sounds fair? All right, let's get started. So we got Nightmares, Part 6, Solitude. Tom King is the writer. The artists are Amanda Connor, Dan Panosian, John Timms, and Mikhail Janin. We got some color artists on here. Paul Mounts, John Timms, and Jordi Belair. Clayton Cowles on letters. Connor and Mounts did the cover, and this gorgeous freaking variant cover, Francisco Mattina. Also, it should be noted that Bill Finger created Batman. Excuse me. Look, I know that he supposedly created Batman, and there's this lawsuit thing and whatnot, but for crying out loud, Bob effing Finger, all right? That's all I'm saying. Bob Finger giving the finger to Bob Kane. Anyway, let's move on. You know what? I'll tell you what. I will only continue making fun of Bob King and putting Bill Finger over Bob King for about as long as Bob King did it to Bill Finger. How about that? And at least I'm going to mention Bob Kane, unlike what Bob Kane did for Bill Finger. Okay, so we got Supergirl, who she's taking over for Superman because these guys are on their bachelor party and bachelorette party at that. Batman's got a boring bachelor party where he's just like, yeah, playing chess and eating soup in the presence of Alfred at Wayne Manor with Clark Kent, with Superman. And they're just hanging out, they're chilling. Here's all throughout the comic book is the one thing about this comic book. I always try to have one thing about a comic book that I absolutely dislike, even in a comic book that I like this one. We have these guys are talking, but they keep on breaking up their sentences, you know, like this. It's really annoying, dude, and I wanted to punch somebody so bad. Problem is, Tom King was the one who authorized that, and I'm just saying, as much as I know about the martial arts, you always got to fear a Secret Service guy. You know what I'm saying? So, CIA, probably throw a punch, he'd grab me, flip me, break my wrist, shove it up my own butt, and toss me down a well. And I doubt anybody's going to be like, Master Professor, why do we fall? No, probably more like, find your way out, jackass. So anyway, why do I do these things to myself? So, yeah, anyway, Batman and Superman, they're having a boring bachelor party. As for Selina and Lois Lane, it's a little different story here, okay? They're left to the Fortress of Solitude all by themselves. They find any number of crazy things in here. There's going to be a bunch of things in here where you're going to read and you're just going to be like, okay, well, if this was a trap, then how did you guys get out of it? There's a pool there that was sent down as a trap for Superman that allows you to, I'm just going to say it, allows you to come like crazy, okay? Like every part of your body goes into awesome mode, okay? And you can see the look on your faces right there. These artists, whoever was responsible for drawing these pictures, they drew Orgasmatron O faces. I'm just throwing it out there, man. If you're offended by that, you're going to be offended by the comic book. I'm just like, that's what happened. That's what happened. So somehow they're able to escape from this trap. All I'm saying is, nope, I'd be in there until I was completely dehydrated. Whatevs, man. Whatevs. So the women are able to escape. Just because when you get to the end of the comic book, you'll understand. And yeah, I'm probably going to post a spoiler at the end of this, just because. Anyhow, so there's such a stupid part in here which flips me out, where Lois Lane and Catwoman, Selina, they're sitting, hanging out inside the Fortress of Solitude, and there's these 3 Superman robots in there. They look just like Clark and Superman, all that good stuff. And they're programmed to strip their clothes and to start doing some, you know, Chippendales dancing for them. There is not, well, I shouldn't say there's not a woman in the world, but most women, I know my woman, would never go for that. I'm sorry, one of her friends, new friend, complete stranger, the idea of them both sharing, okay, 1 at least off 3 of me doing a cool dance. Sorry guys, just get that out of your head. Bleach your eyes. Bleach your eyes. Would be like, no, 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 no. No, I can't see my wife doing something like that. There's no way something like that would happen. But that's what happens in here. When you get to the end, you'll understand. All right? Don't forget what the title of this book is called. What the overall title of this arc is called, more specifically. Now I'm going to get into actual spoilers here. All right? Because it's fairly important. So you got to remember that when you get to the end of this book, here's what you're going to see. I'm going to show you the last page of the book. Okay, much like with the Detective Comics story that happened most recently in issue number 999. Actually, the whole arc leading up to 999. So those 6 issues or so, whatever, before, Batman is in some kind of a, what do you call it, altered states sort of chamber. It looks like he's underwater. Well, probably not underwater, whatever. He's someplace where he's got these nightmares going through his mind, okay? And apparently Bane is doing this stuff to him. We don't see Bane there. Maybe he's doing it to himself like in the Detective Comics story, but it's possible that Bane is actually doing that to him. I gotta pop this sucker open here. There's this guy, Casey Jones, good on you, dude. He says on Twitter, he says, all right, man, Tom King, I want to stay on board with Batman. Picked it up around issue 56, but I need to know this is going to start making sense soon. So if he started reading at issue 56, I understand why he's so utterly confused. All right? Tom King responds and he says, thanks. Batman is sad because Selina, with a push from Bane, left him at the altar. Bane is trying to make him even more sad in order to break him. As part of this plan, he's subjecting Batman to a series of nightmares. Hope that helps. And thanks. Tom King later says, I wrote up a quick Batman update summary for a kind, maybe lost fan. Seemed to help. Thought I'd post it for any other kind, maybe lost fans. This is a long story being told in lots of ways by lots of artists. I begrudge no one for saying what the hell is going on. Okay, there you have it. So this is what we've been talking about here. This is what I've been talking about. I imagine a bunch of us are able to figure that out. I imagine all of us in some way, shape, or form or another is able to figure that out. Do these issues feel like filler issues? In some ways, well, hell's yes. They absolutely do feel like filler issues. There's no reason for this to go on. This could be written in a way that we don't get an entire arc of nightmares, which means Batman isn't progressing, Batman isn't doing this, Batman is just sitting in some kind of a incubation-like chamber, being subjected to all sorts of nightmares, all right? Ever since that one with Professor Pig on the cover, yeah, these are all just nightmares. So we'll see exactly how this happens, how this all, settles in a bit, how he got trapped inside of this chamber, all this stuff. We'll figure it all out, all right? Bane is planning on breaking the Bat. And if you've been reading Tom King's run, it doesn't have to be since issue number 1, but if you've been reading it for long enough, you know that Bane has been a constant theme in the comic books under Tom King. Look, when push comes to shove, my peeps, I'm willing to stretch this one out. I'm willing to let the story stretch out to issue number 100 where the new wedding, if it even happens, okay? I'm willing to. Why? Because Bane is a high concept character that unfortunately is treated like a low concept chump by most people. When the Nightfall storyline happened, that was done masterfully. All right? All the crazy things that Bane was doing. Look, at the end of the day, Nixon, all those guys, they could have very easily simply had a single short story arc, okay? Or even just a couple of pages devoted to all the crazy stuff that Bane was doing to Batman to show that he was staying awake night after night after night. And he wasn't getting nearly enough sleep because Bane blew up the side of Arkham Asylum, released all the inmates, and that's why Batman couldn't get any sleep, because he was trying to put Gotham in order. He could have done that in a single issue. They could have done that in a single issue. Would the comic book, would the storyline, would Nightfall have been nearly as amazing if they had done that in a single issue? No. No, not at all. So maybe Tom King isn't doing this as eloquently as they are. Maybe he is and we're just getting impatient. I don't know how many of us were actually reading Nightfall, because I'm going to be honest, even though I was actually reading comic books, back then, I wasn't on Batman at the time. Couldn't be. I was traveling. I think I was traveling back from Ohio to New Jersey, and there was just, all the moves and all that stuff, trying to, situate life. There was simply no time to go to the comic book store and get all that stuff. So, yeah. Um, but I did read it within a year after it came out. I got them all. I went out and I got all of the individual issues so that I could read them all. And it was amazing. It was great being able to sit down and read them all in a row like that. If you haven't read those and you've gone back and you've read them in trade paperback, you'll understand. If you go back and read them in trade paperback today for the first time, you'll understand. But now imagine that it's all stretched out like that. You might get a little bit frustrated. Again, maybe Tom King isn't doing it as eloquently. But then again, we're sitting through this issue by issue in real time. So there's that. This is panning out to be a great Bane story, because it's not something where Bane's just, he gets beaten up by Batman, in a fisticuff, all right? This is Tom King actually trying to tell a cool story. So I'm willing to be patient for a little longer, hoping that the story actually starts going someplace interesting where I'm more than happy to follow. Right now, I'm rather begrudgingly following, but tweets like that, all right? Tom King willing to put out tweets like that. That's the kind of stuff that keeps me going in this comic book, all right? Because honestly, a comic book like this, without that last page, I'm looking at it like, dude, I can't keep on buying these comic books. I can't keep on reading these comic books like this. I just can't. So wake me up when September's past. You know what I'm saying? Wake me up when we're done with this storyline, and then I'll just, get a summary, all right? Because, wow. But no, I'm willing to sit through them and enjoy them. Anyway, guys, long enough for a video. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.